Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the iWorkinSport live interview. This is the show where we talk to accomplished sport business professionals who come here to share their knowledge, their experience, tips, and advice in order to help you succeed in your career. Right? If we're just meeting for the first time, my name is João Frigerio. I'm the founder of iWorkinSport, and I want to say a big thank you for being here with us today. If you're coming back, you know how this works. This is supposed to be an interactive session, so you can prepare your questions, your comments. That would be great to have you participating. And obviously, I will start asking you to write in the comments where you're watching from. So let us know. That would be great if you could do that. And obviously, if you're not coming back, if this is your first time, you can do exactly the same thing, right? You're invited to comment as well, ask your questions, and let me know in the comments that this is your first time here. Today, I have the pleasure to welcome to the show Sree Varma, founder and CEO of iSportConnect. Right, iSportConnect is the world's greatest or largest private network for sports business professionals. It's been going on for many years now. He's also a serial entrepreneur. We're going to talk about that as well, with various other investments in real estate, in tech. So it will be a very interesting conversation. But before I invite Sree to join me, I want to say that this episode is brought to you by Mint. Mint is the leading recruitment agency for sports and entertainment in Europe. Right, many people may still know the name or remember the name Sport Carrière. They changed that at the end of last year. They rebranded it to Mint as Mint expands more and more internationally and in the entertainment space as well. So if you are someone, there's a short clip here. Yeah. So if you are someone looking for your next move in the sports industry, check out wearemint.com. There's a link on the description of the video. Also, if you're a company looking for help to hire the best talent, get in touch with Mint. I am actually working with Mint internationally, so you can feel free to reach out to me directly. Right. So without further ado, let me invite Sree to join me right after this. Hello, Sree. Welcome. Glad to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you, and thank you for the invite. And I know you for many, many years, so you're a great friend and colleague. So thank you for the invite.
Yeah, we've known each other for a long time, and I'm glad that you could finally make it. Um, Sree, while I think someone already left a comment here, we're gonna get to that in a second. But let's start as we start always with everybody. Maybe it would be good for you to give a quick summary of your career. Tell us a bit more of what you do. I presented you as a founder and CEO of iSportConnect. I know that there's more to the story than that, but yeah, tell me a bit about your background, what you studied, and how you actually started working in sport.
Yeah, yeah. No, thank you. First of all, thank you for the invite, and congratulations for your journey. I work in sport. Has been where you are now. It's been an incredible journey. So congratulations. So my story is I mean, it's a typical immigrant story. So my family came to the UK with £150 in their pocket, and we survived a few months by staying in the same household with a lot of other families, etc. So we started with nothing, and it also gave me the drive to be somebody. So I worked hard. I did a degree in computer science, and then I did an MBA. While I was doing those studies, I was also trying to make money because we didn't have any money. So I at the time, the websites were the online, the boom, the .com was just coming into the picture. So I started learning how to do websites, and then I started selling websites to the local restaurants and other establishments to make some money. So that's how I paid off my fee for my education and so on. And then I ended up in publishing world. So I did a few publishing magazines and things like that. And then the route to my to sport was actually being commercial director of Business F1, which was a publishing business in Formula One. So that got me into Formula One. It was an accident because I didn't even follow for Formula One before.
When was that?
This was 2000, I would say 4. I could be wrong.
That's
around that sort of time. I'm not very.
It was around the same time I came to Europe.
Yeah, there you go. So I was running the commercial arm and with my publisher. So we ran it for a few years, and then we decided to start SportsPro, which is now is a big established, very successful business. So we started it because we thought we should go beyond Formula One to publish magazines and different things for all of sport. So we ran that for 4 or 5 years. And then we sold it to the guys who run it now.
Okay.
And then, so then I started iSportConnect back in 2010 with a mission to bring together sport business professionals under one umbrella, because there wasn't a network business for sport dedicated, but networking business for business people. Yeah. You had LinkedIn, etc., but I just wanted to create something bespoke for the sport industry. So I got in touch with a guy called Michael Cunner. Michael used to be CEO of Wembley Stadium, the FA, and then he became CEO of Aston Villa for a few years, and then he left. So Michael and me almost knew almost everyone in the sport industry. We thought, okay, why don't we create a networking business dedicated for sport business? So that's how we started iSportConnect back in 2010. So 15 years later, we are now the world's largest private network. So we got to around over 25,000 C-level to mid-level executives in sport globally. We're also trying to help the next generation as well. So we are a bit relaxed about the membership now. So I've been running that, and then I also have a few other businesses now, because which I'm sure we'll discuss.
Let's talk a little bit more about iSportConnect, because I remember well when that started, and I don't remember if that was actually the tagline, but that was, as it was viewed, that iSportConnect was like the LinkedIn for sport, or that was the idea, how it was presented at first. And obviously the model changed, so you pivoted. Can you talk a little bit about that? So the inception and the evolution of the business, and maybe explain more how it works now.
Yeah, absolutely. So very much like a LinkedIn for sport. That's how we started it. So we have a membership policy, so not everyone can sign up. If somebody register, it went through an approval system to make sure they are genuine sport business professionals. So there's no time wastage and so on. So that's how we started it. And then every business, you have to evolve with the time and everything else. So we have evolved much more than just a LinkedIn for sport. So now we have exclusive events for rights holders and brands and broadcasters. We don't do big conferences. And so there are plenty of amazing conferences out there. But what we have done is we found a niche where a lot of rights holders, sometimes when they go to big conferences, they don't get an opportunity to have a private meeting to discuss their challenges, opportunities, etc. So I thought that's an opportunity for us to create our own bespoke events. We don't sell delegate passes. We don't do 2,000 people conferences. Our events are invitation only and exclusive for rights holders in different cities. So Lausanne, where you're based, we do a couple of events there. London, we do Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and a few of those places where we bring in 200, maximum 200. Nowadays we do 100 people, and then we have different. It's not typical panel sessions, etc. We have different topics that we have roundtables and breakout sessions, so that everyone can collaborate and discuss the opportunities and challenges, etc. So we want everyone to come together, and discuss the challenges and opportunities, and leave the room saying, oh yes, we had it's not just another conference where we managed to deep dive on challenges and opportunities we have here. So that's one of the elements we do. And then another thing we do is advisory, iSportConnect advisory, where we help a lot of tech companies and agencies who wants to get into sport or who are already in sport, but trying to expand to different markets within sport. So it's led by two of my colleagues, David Fowler, he used to be at FIFA, and Mike Kuji, etc. And which is
I know David very well.
Indeed,
he's been here a few years ago. We studied together, actually. Yeah,
exactly. He's a great friend of yours, and and then the second guy called Ray James. Ray used to be the commercial director of Millwall. Before that, he was at Chelsea, and after that, he was at Man City, Sky Sports, etc. So these two run our advisory division, where we help a lot of businesses with their strategy, business development, market penetration, etc. So we have the online platform for our members to consume latest information, intelligence, etc., which is free. We have the events, which is basically, like I said, that's for the right soulless, I call it buyers of the industry, the right soulless brands and broadcasters. And then we have this advisory where we actually help tech companies, agencies, cities, and different organizations within sport, which is our main business in terms of when it comes to revenue and the commercial aspect. The advisory is our main business.
Right. So you mentioned that the platform is free. Is that like completely free, or is there a freemium model to that? Is that some sort of premium thing that it's paid for? I want to understand a little bit, if I don't know how much you can tell, but just out of curiosity, a little bit of the business model there. Is it more on the event side, more on the advisory side? What is today's iSportConnect business, if you will?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I always want to keep the platform free because I want to make sure everyone comes to the platform to learn and look for opportunities and jobs and RFPs and tenders, etc. I even had a few emails in the past saying, "Oh, thanks to your job board, I saw this job and now I'm the marketing director of this Premier League club," or and so on. So I just want a platform which actually help for the betterment of our industry. That's my aim with the platform. So if I can keep the platform free by commercializing other aspects, it's a good thing. So the events we do, obviously, most of them are free, but we also have some sort of commercial element to it. Sometimes we have sponsors, etc., because obviously there is a cost. But we try to not to have much very commercially focused events. The main revenue model is our advisory. We have sort of 30 clients, which they pay good money, retainer, and so on. So that is our main revenue stream at the moment.
Great. And so what are the main, since you created iSportConnect, as you mentioned, you pivoted the business a bit. I think you tried a few models. What would you say were the biggest challenges, that you faced along the way? It's been 15 years. How did you overcome them?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Do you have all day? There's always, as a small business and also at the beginning as a startup, you come with the business model thinking this may work. So I'm one of those people, when I have a business model and an idea, I just do it before actually even, I don't sit and plan for next 12 months. I start doing it. And while I'm doing it, I take calculated risk and start. And then while I'm doing it, I will also learn and then try to change the change the journey. We started with being the platform as a LinkedIn for sport, connecting and doing messages, etc., through our platform. That's one of the ideas we had. We just within first year, we realized that that's not going to work because you have LinkedIn, an amazing platform where people are there, they can connect and communicate and send messages, etc. So idea was what we need to do is to not to just copy what exactly LinkedIn is doing. One, we can't compete with that. Great platform, great resources and so on. So what we should do is to add value to our membership by by creating a network where they can come together through our events and also access a lot of connections and sorry, when I say connection, access a lot of intelligence and information through our platform, so that another aspect of networking is being offered, not just connections and sending message to the people that you're connected to. So that's something which we changed our strategy. And also, like I said, we're starting these private events. It's not something which we planned at the beginning. At the beginning, it was purely LinkedIn for sport, but then we realized that it's not, just the digital connections is not enough. Especially in sport, we need to interact, we need to meet, whether it's a Zoom call these days, before call is face to face, all of that. So that's why we created these sort of smaller exclusive events, which we started from 2013 or 14. So first 3 years we didn't have any events. So from 2013, we started these private events. And that's something which, again, is a challenge we had. How do we connect these people?
Right.
And we came with the solution of having these sort of exclusive events and roundtables to connect people and so on.
Right. And then obviously you connected them for a few years, then a pandemic comes, then you need to kind of
that was
see how you keep.
That's the challenge. I still remember we are a small business. Still, we had 20 people, and March. I still remember March 22nd in 2020. I think when our Prime Minister said work from home, and all of that, and the business. Obviously, that was one of the biggest challenges I faced in the last 15 years. I sort of to say, okay, what are we going to do now? We can't have events. Our advisory clients need a lot of. They're paying us to deliver a lot of things, which now we need to change our strategy and plans because we all are going to work from home and so on, especially in that first year. So I think we were one of the first people to even have those sort of webinars in sport. We actually did 2 every week for all of 2020. So we straight away changed our strategies. We had those webinars, so anyone could have signed up. And another thing we did was we actually invite all of our advisory the clients or a Zoom call and said, okay, this is the challenge we have. We need your support. We can't deliver what we promised beforehand, but what we can do is, instead of doing this way, we will do it that way, using digital platforms, etc., to help you with what we promised. And I have to say, they were really supportive. They were understanding. And we managed to deliver for them. Actually, sometimes, some cases, we did better job than previously because we could reach out to people in different countries and continents through online platforms. Before, we couldn't do things through Zoom calls, etc. Now, people accept the fact that you can do meetings through Zoom calls. Because I remember one of our clients at the time was La Liga, and we used to go to La Liga's HQ in Madrid once a month, because obviously we had this client meeting. They were one of our advisory clients. So my colleague Ray and me used to go once a month. And when you go to Madrid from London, as you can imagine, you spend all day. You go to the airport. You get up in the morning, go to the airport, and then you take the flight to Madrid, and then the traffic in Madrid, and then it's all for an hour meeting or 2 hours meeting, and then you come back. All day's gone for that one meeting. Now you can do a Zoom call with La Liga for 45 minutes, and the rest of the day is yours for doing things. So there are some positives with doing more things online.
For sure. Yeah, some things, sometimes meeting in person still, I think, very valuable. But yeah, I think you can pick the right meetings. Sree, there's a couple of just people saying hello here. Actually, people are quite shy today. I can see that there's a good number of people watching us, especially on LinkedIn. But Alkis, Natalis from Belgium says hi. Pav is watching from Birmingham. I don't know where the other people are watching from, but if you can write in the comments, that would be nice. Otherwise, just prepare your questions there as well. And maybe we can talk a little bit about your investment interests. They are not all in sports, right? Actually, let me go back a bit. We'll talk about the other interests in a second. Let's still think of the sports industry. I want to ask you, where do you think the opportunities are at the moment, or the main opportunities are? And I'm going to ask you to think, wear two hats, or 2 points of views. One, with a point of view of an investor. So if you're to put money in an area in sports nowadays, what is it that is interesting you? And obviously, a lot of people that watch us are interested in advancing in their career in sport. So if you're someone starting a career in sport now, what are the areas that you need to pay attention to?
Yes, interesting question. I may probably try to combine both because
Okay.
I do think there's four areas where I think sports will evolve. One is data analytics, both fan data and performance data. Other one is AI and immersive tech. The third one, probably the first one, I would say, women in sport. The women's sport, I think, will be another area which will evolve. The fourth one is sustainability. Sustainability in sport is a crucial thing. So those are the four areas where I always look to invest as an investor. If there are tech
So,
companies or
so it is data,
data
tech,
analytics, yeah, AI and immersive tech.
yeah,
Immer-
yeah,
immer-
tech, women, and sustainability.
yeah,
Okay, and why do you say that? Can you just
yeah, of course. Obviously,
yeah,
I mean, if you look at commercial side of sport, back in the day, people used to just put their big logo because the CEO or somebody's a big fan of that particular club or organization, and they just want to put their logo. And I think those days are gone. And now the brands are more clever. They have different other opportunities as well. So, what are your assets? I mean, if you look at sport, one of the biggest assets they have is their fans. So understanding your fans is so important. And that is your ace card, if you like, when it comes to commercialization. And that's
yeah,
where there's a big opportunity when it comes to the fan data. When it comes to performance data, I don't need to tell you, you can see the evolution with wearables and technology and everything else. So that's one sector I think will evolve more and more in terms of investments and also the career wise. So I think if you're somebody who's a student who's looking to get into sport, look at that as one category where you can try to get in. Second one is the AI and immersive tech. As you know, I co-founded with Joe Condon another business called Sec3 Sport Entertainment Gaming in Web3, purely
yeah.
because I saw that as another opportunity, the immersive tech and also the using Web3 and AI, etc. So yeah, I even know from my kids who are actually on Roblox. I mean, during COVID, my son, who was at the time, he was only 8 or even less, he had his birthday party in Roblox. And so I
Right.
think the clubs, Liverpool, I remember Peter Moore, the CEO at the time, he was saying, my challenge is not to lose the fans to Everton, but in the future, but to Roblox and other immersive technologies and platforms, because the kids are in those platforms these days. So there is the opportunity for sport to use those platforms to engage with the next generation fans, and which is also an investor. I would look at investing in those. As somebody who's trying to get into career, maybe that could be another opportunity for you to get into sport. And the third is obviously women's sport. I mean, as you can see, women's sport, especially after the Women's Football World Cup the last year, you can see the growth, and I see passion in my daughter. She's so passionate about her football club, etc. As women's football team rather than men's football team, etc. I think that there is a
Right.
tremendous opportunity to grow that sector. And brands are
Yeah.
also looking to support, so which means you can look to commercialize it going
I
forward.
agree. Do you see geographically, do you see a big difference between one or the other? Because I tend to think that in the US they're even a bit more advanced then it's, the clubs at MLS now are quite expensive.
Yeah.
They're all, over 500, $600 million just, getting the license to join the league. Um,
I,
Whereas, I mean,
yeah,
women's football seems to have great potential. Is Europe similar in a way, or what do you think? I see some investments. Mercury 13, obviously, bought the team in Como,
yeah.
Como Women. We had Elena Mirandola here not too long ago. She's the CEO of the club. There's a few, I mean, other initiatives here, but how do you see in terms of investing in women's? Well, we're talking about women's football, but we can also think of women's sport in general.
Yeah, no, obviously, I agree with you on sport. US is definitely leading the space, but I think Europe is not behind. My good friend Luis Vicente and his colleagues at Mercury 30, they're doing an amazing job. I think it's just a matter of time. Once you commercialize and once you see those numbers, etc., I think the others will follow. And I do think Europe probably will be the number one when it comes to women's sport, more than US eventually. That the time will tell, but I do strongly believe in that. Europe will lead the way.
Oh, cool. And the last a bit on sustainability. When we talk about, I think all the other three, um, I think, I don't know if it's easier to see a more immediate um, commercial return in investing sort of in data and technology or even in women's sport. I think with the potential growth of women's sport is, I mean, already explains itself. Now, sustainability is still seen by many almost like a cost part, let's keep it green and keep healthy without maybe paying that much attention. Maybe they do, but it's not communicated in that way, make it sort of profitable. Where are we on that? Is that are we finding a way to make sustainability a good, say, commercial investment as well, not just a good one in terms of you know uh, morals or going the right direction and saving the planet and all that, but you know what I mean?
It's the way I see it is it's yes, you need to look at the commercial side of it, but also to connect with the next generation fads. Because I know from my kids, I always look at my kids as the next generation fans, and I learn from them and see how the consumer behavior of that generation. And I know from my daughter and how she's aware about the rising sea levels to the plastic in the sea and all of those things, and she actually educate me sometimes. And in order to connect with that generation and the next, that next generation fan base, I think sustainability will become a key role, will play a key role in that. Obviously, and also if you look at the likes of, say, GP, Formula E, Extreme E, etc., you can see the new generation of sport. They're
Right.
coming in with
Yeah.
sustainability in sport. I think there will be more and more sports with sustainability angle will be coming. Sport. I mean, my other sector, properties. Now, one of the people who come with sustainable property construction opportunities, etc., get more funding than the other the normal property developers. And even the government is changing. I mean, in the UK, the government is changing their rules in about sustainability of buildings, etc. It is inevitable, in my view. And even the brands will be aware of that, and brands will be looking for that sort of things. And when it comes to commercial opportunities in sport, yes, we are still in early days. Sometimes we have the short term thinking, but I think it's a matter of time before sustainability will play a huge role in
Yeah,
in
yeah, no, obviously, we see definitely some initiatives, as you mentioned, Formula E is one of them, and another other esports, Forest Green Rovers, and teams like that that take that into really raise the flag of sustainability. I wanted to know how in your view is evolving. I have many. friends working with that. There's a number of them. I'll mention Mike Laughlin, a former boss at Sportcal, Daniel Cade as well. There's so many others. If I keep saying that, well,
Yeah.
just take too much time. But there's a lot in it, but I don't feel that is evolving probably at the same pace as the other ones. And I
No,
hope that it will.
yeah, I agree. I mean, that's what the challenge is, and I totally agree. It's just going with a very slow pace, but I do think in the next maybe five, I could be wrong with the number, the period, but 5 to 10 years time, this will be one of the key elements.
Very good, very good. Just before I jump to the other one, so people uh, send some messages here. I'm just going to pass by them very quickly. There's already a couple of questions, so I'm going to go to them. Sree, here I try to give priority to the people watching it live. So if they come and drop a question, I might stop and then come back to my line of thinking. So again, just a shout out to Alkis in Belgium. He left a question. Pav is in Birmingham, I said already. David Alexander, he's watching from London. Hi, David. Nicolas in Annecy, France. There is Jesus in Paris. Who else? Oh, there's some question here. Sokin Shadi. Hello, João Sree from Barcelona. As a student, is there a platform for students to enter the sports industry? Did you have any knowledge about that, Sree? That's anything that you'd like to share?
iWorkinSport is a good platform.
It's one, yeah.
Yeah, and also I would say a couple of other ones. Sign up to a lot of newsletters, and Sports Pro, an amazing platform. Sport Business, I think it's not free anymore, but and there's a number of platforms which are free. You should sign up to their newsletters. Try to read as many free content as possible if you're a student. If you can, if you don't have budget to subscribe to some of those platforms. And I would also say that follow some influencers in sport on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great platform where you can actually learn from people, see what people like Luis Vicente, a friend of mine, post amazing content
Yeah,
on
it does.
and just follow people like that who you can learn from.
Luis, we met recently in Saudi Arabia. We want you here. We want you here. And Ricardo Fort is another one that is always posting very, very good content. But Sokin, I hope that I'm pronouncing your name correct. Yes, I think we at iWorkinSport do exactly that. We're a hub for all things recruitment, career growth, and education in sports. So if you check us out, there will be an area where you can find many courses. One of the things that we created is a quiz. So you can reply to 10 questions, and that quiz will recommend a program to you, as a response to your interests, right? So check that out. And about the newsletters, if I'm not wrong, not so long ago, we actually published a list of several newsletters for you to follow. So we have something that on our insights section. Who else? Alkis asks, which areas of employment in sport appear to be of equal importance or growth across different sports?
That's a good question. Do you have any thoughts?
So, I mean, there's a few areas that, for instance, if you go to sales, it's one that there's there's some areas that you find probably of equal importance is in every area in sport, right? And what you need to think is that many sort of sports organizations, sports companies, from clubs to leagues, federation, whatever, they will all have many of the functions that you have in any other company. So whether it's HR, whether it's legal, whether it's marketing, any business need to do some sales or whatever that is. When we're talking about clubs, they will be wanting to sell sponsorship, for instance, not a product per se, or media rights, depends on how they do it.
Yeah.
And those are probably ones that are equal in pretty much any sports, isn't it? Then
Yeah.
there will be some organizations, sporting organizations, that will have a competitions area. If you organize a competition, others won't. Then there's a few areas where obviously it will vary. Then clubs will have the for
Yeah. No.
that's right, but there's a few that are you'll find the same and will be important in any of them. If I understood your question correctly.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to it. Like you said, I mean, sales, event management, PR and communications, marketing, all of them. That's not just in sport. If you think about it, and entertainment, gaming, music, all of those sectors have the same sort of skill set you need.
Great, great. Just to finish a few more comments here. So Nathan is watching us from Switzerland here on LinkedIn. Aledin in Birmingham, and Pav, I think, has a comment or question. Even if you don't connect with people on LinkedIn, just following and engaging comments of people on LinkedIn really adds value to your journey. So that's a nice tip from Pav. He's actually part of our community there. We work in sports. We have one focus on people starting their career as well. And thanks for the comments, Pav. If we go back a little bit on that aspect, Sree, of your own career and maybe some advice that you can share. What do you think are the main skills that you have that allowed you to get where you are now in your career?
I think one thing I'm not good at a lot of things, but I am good at one thing. I'm good at. I think a lot of people will say is I'm good at networking. It really helped me to grow. Even iSportConnect, all of my businesses I grew through networking, and also another skill I have is I am very persistent. I never give up. If I start something and believe in something, I am very persistent, and that's another skill I think helped me to grow and where I got to in my career. The third thing I will always say is that have your own story, be unique. Everyone have their own story. Because when you interview a lot of people, they all say, oh, I'm passionate about sport, I'm hardworking, and I got this. Everyone say the same thing. You need to have something which is unique to you. Those skills which are in your CV, you are competing with another 200 or 5,000, whatever the number is. But your story is yours. Have a unique story, which could be the way you grew up to the way, there must be something. Identify that unique story that you have. The amount of times that I connect with the people that I eventually recruited for my business is because of that unique story they have. So that's a third thing. And then fourth thing I will always say is be humble, be a people's person. Sport is such a private network. If you want to be part of that network and grow it yourself, be humble and be a people's person. So I think those are the four skills I can think of.
Oh yeah, 100%. And one that you actually, the number zero that you mentioned just before you mentioned the others, is knowing what you're good at and what you're not good at is probably a good skill as well.
Yeah.
So you can prioritize. But I want to follow up on that because since one of your expertise obviously is networking, can you share some, best practices, what to do, what not to do when networking? I think a lot of people may mistake networking with, just spamming people, collecting business cards and conferences. And I think it's definitely much more than that. Maybe there's a right way to connect with someone on LinkedIn. There's a wrong way. Any thoughts on that you could share would be valuable.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, there's a digital networking, and then you got the offline networking at events. let me just focus on the events networking first. One of the mistakes, this is purely my personal view, I'm not the expert, but from my experience, what I think is some people have this pressure, especially if you are in sales, thinking, oh, I need to meet these guys and I need to try to sell my product or service. Having that mindset when you're trying to meet people is not the best way to do networking. Just go with the mindset to meet people and try and, you're meeting somebody and then you try and understand that person, not trying to sell something. Be a good listener, because a lot of people, they pretend to be good listener and then they don't really listen because they just have this thing about, oh, I need to sell this particular product I have because this guy is an ideal customer for me. If you're truly networking, have an interest in that person and what they say, and engage in conversation with them. You may eventually sell something, but that shouldn't be a goal. Just be a friend or colleague in the industry and try to have genuine conversations with them and see if you can genuinely help them. The amount of times I help a lot of people through iSportConnect network,
Yeah.
I never thought, okay, there are a few people who got jobs, done deals through our events, etc. I never asked anything back, but eventually things will come back to you. I believe in karma, but when you do networking, just don't give it that pressure. So that pressure also kill you, because you think, oh, I need to sell because my boss back in the office will tell, okay, how many leads you had, etc. But you will have those leads, but just go with a free mindset and have a good conversation with the people. One of the assets you have, the greatest assets we all have, smile. Walk into the room with a smile, and people will straight away, more welcoming. And then, you can give business cards, etc. But first, don't start with the business cards. Just have genuine conversations. One of the things, if you are intimidated by a lot of people in the room, maybe just look at the delegate list before you go to the thing. Maybe connect with them on LinkedIn. Again, don't sell, saying, oh, I saw your name in the list. It'd be great to catch up and meet you in person there, because I don't know many people. So if you say something like that, they are willing to talk to you and say, okay, I don't know many people, so I thought I'll connect with you if you don't mind before the event, so that at least I will have some familiar faces at the event, and I will look out for you. So they may reply and say, oh yeah, okay, Sree, let's meet at the event, and you will, you walk into the room, and then you at least have 2 or 3 people that you know by then already, and then have genuine conversations with them, build relationships. I always think networking is all about building relationships, not about selling, and that's the main thing with networking.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. People should not confound networking with selling. They're probably very different things. Not probably, they are, I think, different things. And it's almost like networking is something that you should do or must do when you don't need it. If you actually need to be networking, it's too late.
Yeah.
Obviously, you need something, you go to events, and I'm exaggerating maybe a little, but think of that. If you need to network for something, you're a bit too late. There's no right time. It's always a good time to be there networking. But when you don't need it, when you're actually in a position to help someone instead of asking for something, that's probably the best way for you to activate your network. Because then when you need it, you will already have the network, and then people will remember you, and that will most likely come back to you somehow. That's I think we're very much on the same page.
Yeah, just on the LinkedIn element, because that is a networking platform and people try to connect. One of the things I see is that people try to connect with you. When they connect, they send a nice message saying, it'd be good. The moment you accept the connection, they send you a big spam email, sales email. That suddenly that connection is gone, frozen, because I would never get back to that. Even if I'm interested in their product and service, that's not the way to do it. If you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, connect, and the first message should be, again, similar to the event networking. Don't do sales. Just have some meaningful conversations, and then also try to be a thought leader on LinkedIn. If you have some views on certain topics, start posting on LinkedIn. And then when you connect with people, they see your post, and then they see you as a thought leader. So they're, so it helps you to be a thought leader in the sport, in the industry, and then it makes your life easier to connect and build your network.
All right, but that's great advice. But let me ask you something else, and I want to ask you more like as a potential, target for someone, how you would like to be approached, more than even like a networking expert. So if someone wants to do some business with iSportConnect and they didn't know you from a long time ago, like I did before I invite you to come here, but they actually think that they would have a nice proposal to you. So they found, oh, this is the CEO of iSportConnect. I think I have something that they would like. They invite you to connect on LinkedIn. You accept. What would be the good next step? How would you like to be approached by someone then?
First of all, I mean, am I the right person? Because iSportConnect is not just about me. So if it's something to do with, let's say, an HR product or events products, we have an events team. We have the operations. Betty, my colleague, she's the HR and operations manager. She's the right person coming to me with a product which is not relevant for me as a CEO, because my focus is all about building the business. So certain products like that coming to my inbox is not the right way to do it. So if you have a good proposal, you have a good business, yes, even when you're connecting, you can even mention, I rather have that people be upfront when you're connecting request. You can say that, by the way, I'm not trying to sell here, but I have something for you. This is the small description. I don't mind doing that. People do this. So I know this connection, they are expecting me to look at what their proposal, etc. What I don't like is, oh yeah, let's connect, and because we have many things in common, and then you have this massive sales email message. I'm sure you get it, and
Yeah.
and a lot of times people connect with me to sell certain things which I don't buy. First, I'm not the right customer. Even if the iSportConnect is the right customer for it, I may not be the right person for it. So he's always looking for the right person within the organization, not the CEO. Everyone wants to try to sell to the CEO. And CEO are the people who have no time, and also they want to give the decision to the people who work for you, because they are the people who are taking those decisions.
Right. And what about when you recruit, Sree? We can talk a little bit about this approach of people maybe or skipping or complementing their online application via LinkedIn. This is one point, but more generally, what is it that you look for in candidates when you're recruiting? Obviously, they need to know how to do the job, right? A specific job. If they have some experience, okay, there's a match there. But what else?
Yes, it's a really good, interesting question, because if you look at, you have one job and you have 200 people applying. If they all say I'm hardworking, I'm passionate about sport, all of those things, it's difficult for us to find the right candidate, right? So previously I mentioned about being unique and having your own story. It's so important. I always look, I don't even sometimes look at CV. My colleagues do look at the CVs. But if it's certain roles, of course, you need to have the experience in those roles. So if it's an event manager we're looking for, they need to have some experience in events. Or if you're a content person, you need to have experience in content. But that's just the skill set. Probably all the people who are applying, or most of the people who are applying, will have the same skills. So that's fine. The second thing, or it's the first thing in my case, the most important thing is, are their values aligned with our values? That I believe in values and the culture. So, for example, our business, we are like a little family, we're a small business. We all, we all care for each other, etc. So the person, you can see whether that person has the same sort of values and culture. When you interview, it's difficult, but you can see them. And if you think they have the same values as yours, then they are the right people. And like I said, having a unique story is so important, because a lot of people saying, I love sports, that's why I want to get into sports. I'm hardworking, etc. I mean, they all say the same things. So you want to be different and unique. And as an employer, what I look for is aligning values with my values.
Great. So that demands some research on their part. They need to pay attention to that.
Yeah, and a couple of things like that, simple things. The amount of times I interview people and ask them, what is iSportConnect? They couldn't even actually explain. So they haven't done their research. They just probably applying for so many jobs and turning out to no, you need to, especially now, you need to prepare yourself and just have your story, but also be prepared, because I'm interested in that person, but also their understanding of our business, to see are they genuinely interested or just coming for an interview. And do your homework.
Yeah, that's right. What about maybe to work at iSportConnect specifically, or if you want to talk more about sports in general as well, feel free. What do you think is the importance of, say, formal education? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Now,
because
nowadays, right? The industry is evolving. So, how do you view that?
for me, if you look at university, for example, it's not just the learning the skills and the knowledge, but it's also these universities and those education establishments help you to build who you are, because we are as humans, we are social animals, and we need to have people around you, your friends and university, your teachers, who can you will find yourself, what are your strengths and weaknesses by being with these people. So it's not just about, when I did my MBA, it's not about learning the business education, but I also learned about myself by being with the peers. And if you don't do that educate, I mean, I believe in the education. So purely because, yes, you can learn basic skills, but also learning about yourself is a key thing when you do universities, etc. I don't know that answers your question, but that's
For sure.
the biggest factor when it comes to that sort of things. And a simple example: a lot of people start doing homeschooling for their kids when since COVID. I don't believe in it. I believe that kids should go to school, be surrounded with their peers and also teachers and everyone else who can also recognize what are your strengths and weaknesses and everything else. We need to be part of the society. We are a social animal, like I said.
Exactly.
And you have to be surrounded with peers to recognize your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. I agree 100%. And that's one of the things that I tell people whenever they ask me if they should apply for a sports specific course. Well, there's two things that I kind of challenge them whenever they come and ask me, oh, should I do a master's in sports, whatever they are? I really want to know what is it that they're looking for, right? What is it that they're after? Because if your only objective, your sole KPI, or in which you will measure if there was a success or not, it was getting a job, whatever job. So probably there's faster and cheaper ways to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And then how much you value all this other thing, the interaction, not only with other professors and the visits, but also with your classmates, and how much you can learn from each other. Because in the end of the day, all knowledge of the world is in your pocket now.
Yeah.
So you can, get the basic learnings from there. But the way you learn, it's quite important. So I agree with you 100%.
And also one more.
Dave,
Yeah, sorry.
go on.
No, it's also the mental health. Just because if you're in the
Yes.
environment, it helps you with your mental health. Because during COVID, for example, a lot of people suffer from mental health issues, etc. Why? Because you're in your four walls and without sharing your life with others. So I think it's very, very important being part of that. And talking about that particular thing, a lot of people have this ambition that I want to work for FIFA, IOC, UEFA, etc. And that, what do you need to look at is what are your skills or what are you passionate about, and then how can you apply these skills and then identify the roles which will fit with those skills, rather than I want to work for FIFA. So I think that again, these sort of further educations will help you to find those skills, so then you can apply for the right jobs.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, we're getting close to the hour mark, so we're going to be finishing here soon. Do you have a very hard stop, or do you have another 5 minutes or so?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay, just so I can read a few more comments. So Tabo Styles, Nishino Gang is watching us from Brasilia in Brazil. There is here. This is Juan Manuel Dominguez Barca. I don't know why his name is not showing here, but he agrees, right, that networking is a state of mind. If you force it only when you need it, it won't work that well. So he agrees with us. Also, David here is sharing an experience. He says, I'm amazed how many applications I get. I haven't even identified who I am and spelled the company name incorrectly. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
have. Yeah.
yeah, Jesus is already just thanking us for the session. Thank you, Jesus, for being here with us. So just a few more.
Yep.
I usually close on softer notes. I want to hear from you, Sree. What is the best story you have ever experienced thanks to sport?
Ooh, best story. I have my own little story. I mean, when I say story, it's basically. I mean, I remember. It's the privilege of being in sport. This story is about, because um, there was a guy who posted something on LinkedIn, which was basically his father-in-law had terminal cancer, and he was a massive Arsenal fan, and he had a month to survive. But he sent a message, put a message on LinkedIn saying our sort of his last wish is to watch the Arsenal game in the stadium, and so on. So somebody saw that message. They tagged me in that message saying, "Sree Varma, can you please help?" And then I contacted the club, and then club was amazing. They just gave him the best welcome if you can think of. He was a VIP, and he was treated well and everything else. And he also met some players, and then 2 days later he passed away. The reason I'm sharing this story is that it gives us this amazing privilege of making people's dreams come true, and I think we all should take that opportunity to reflect on that and see how we can help many people using our privileges, not just us going to watch a lot of games, etc. But there are people who need help. Can we use
Yeah.
our connections, our privilege of being in the sport industry to help the society? I always like to share that story. I mean, whether it's a story or whatever you want to call it, but I think it's very powerful.
No, that's very powerful. It's a brilliant story. Thank you for sharing. And if we think about the sporting moments, you as a sports fan, what's your favorite moment?
Definitely the Federer versus Nadal Wimbledon final in 2008. I remember Nadal was cruising. I think he won the first two sets, and then classic Federer, came back and won the championship. That was an amazing. I will never forget. I will still watch it now if you like. And then obviously I'm based in the UK, in England. So England winning the Cricket World Cup in 2019. I know you probably may not follow this, but it went to Super Over, which is like a final over.
Yeah,
It was one of the best the sports moments. So those are the two things. That's
yeah.
my favorite.
I remember that Wimbledon final. It
Yes.
feels like they kept playing until today. You wouldn't finish.
It
Yeah,
wasn't,
it
yeah. I mean,
was.
I was supposed to take my kids to something. I had to cancel everything, and it's just in front of the TV, just watching it. It's such a great experience, and that's what sports can bring to you.
Yeah, 100%. There's just a few more comments that came in, and then I'm going to ask you a last question as we always close the interview. Well, I'll tell you what it is now so you can think about it. So I'll ask you to recommend a book to people watching us. It may be a podcast, a YouTube channel, other things if you prefer. But think of that while I just cover a few other messages here. So Julie, say thanks for sharing that moving story. I agree 100%. And Sokin is asking how to translate your story on the resume. The right candidate could be cut even before the interview. Can you please spread some light on this?
It's interesting. It's a good question. Well, one of the things
Yeah.
I would say that I still remember there's one guy who actually created a little video saying the title was "Why Should You Hire Me?" and he actually said his story in that video. So along with the CV and the covering letter, he sent that video. Said, even if you don't look at my CV and covering letter, can you please take 2 minutes of your time and watch this video, which will explain why you should hire. That was fantastic. That was so unique. So so I clicked on the video and I watched it and I asked him to come, and I didn't even bother to see others because that video I wouldn't mention what was it, the content of the video, but he was talking about his journey, and resonated with my journey, coming from India with nothing to build where we are now, etc. So it's a similar sort of journey from a guy from Nigeria, and he was fantastic. So that's just an example of how you can actually use platforms and things like that to tell your story. So that's I mean, if you have any other ways to tell your story.
No, yeah. Being creative is one of them. I don't consider myself an expert on especially on the CV parts. I can review some and spot of some mistakes, but we at iWorkinSport actually have a section there, a section in the website called coaches. So iWorkinSport.com/coaches. You'll find a few there, and there's some of them that are actually experts. So professional recruiters that I think will be able to share with you, good advice on that. So I recommend that you do that and take, Sree's advice as well. That was brilliant. Sree, for us to close before we go, it's went really fast. But yeah, do you have a book to recommend to the audience?
Yeah, I mean, talking about networking and being in how to get career, etc. One book I always recommend to people is the Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley. It's actually showing how you can influence others by
Yeah.
doing 5 steps. I can't remember all the 5 steps, etc. But it's a great book. It definitely helped me as well. And then other book, which is probably not relevant here, but I'm a massive fan of that particular book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, talking about how to grow your assets and difference between assets and liabilities and that sort of things, financial intelligence and education, which we don't get at school. It's a fascinating book. Those 2 are my favorite books, and there's a lot of other books, but I'm not going to.
Good ones.
And
I don't
then
read that much, but I happen to have read both of them. The Rich Dad Poor Dad's a long time ago,
long time.
and Daniel Priestley more recently. I was actually in a session with him not too long ago, and for people that's he has a great channel as well on YouTube. So there's a lot of good content there. Some good recent interviews at the Diary of CEO of a CEO as well. So yeah.
I was going to say that with the podcast, when it comes to podcasts, Diary of CEO, Daniel Priestley podcast called, it is actually the book's name, Key Person of Influence. There's CEO cast, there's a few other good podcasts. Obviously, me being an entrepreneur, I'm interested in that sort of podcast. And then when it comes to sport, there's a couple of good podcasts, Unofficial Partners by Richard Gillis, Leaders in Sport podcast by my old colleagues, David Kushner and James Emmett. They used to work with us at SportsPro. So those really good podcasts, and they are free, so it's good for you to tune in and learn from amazing people they interview, etc.
Very, very good. Sree, it was a pleasure. Thank you for sharing so much. We did it a different hour of the day today. So, but you still had a very good audience here, especially on LinkedIn. Thanks everybody for participating, for posting your comments, your questions. This is definitely one of my favorite things about doing this podcast is people's interaction, because I learn from my guests, but I do learn from them as well. Uh, when they share their experience, when they ask the questions, we know what's important for you listening and watching. So yeah, thanks for being part of that. And
Thank
Sree, I
you.
hope to be meeting you in person soon.
Very soon. Especially I work in sport. Your event is coming soon. Hopefully, we'll make it to that one. And congratulations
Yeah,
again for the wonderful thing you're doing with I Work in Sport.
yeah. Thank you. Please stay there while I end the stream. And thanks everybody. I will see you soon. Bye bye.